Oh. And we are live. Wednesday, July 24th. Angry Old Hoops here with Sports and Fitness Rants. Hello, sir. How are you doing today?
Oh man, I'm doing great, AOH, man. I am so happy to be back with another Hump Day rant with my man AOH. Shout out to everybody in the chat, everybody that's coming in, man. Thank you very much, guys, for all your support, man. We love doing this Wednesday show, man. And you guys know the deal. Let's roll.
We need the Hump Day rant. It's like you get the middle of the week and you've heard so much BS from the media that we're basically getting together and venting. We're commiserating around the water cooler, so to speak, at the office.
Exactly, man. Like I said, I love doing this show on Wednesday, man. Like you said, it's a good breakup of the week. Like I said, for all the people who support our channels, man. And I love the dynamic that we got going on, the special guests, the different topics. So this has been great, man.
Before we jump into things, as the viewers come in, why don't you tell us what's going on in your life? You still enjoying the beach? You still on vacation while you're doing these?
Yes, man. Of course, man. I'm down here in the Jersey Shore, man, with the family, getting a little R&R. But once again, like I always tell people, you relax on vacation, but you don't be lazy on vacation, man. And as you guys can see, I see some people in the comment section already coming in. I got my Sports and Fitness Rants t-shirt, man. I want to debut it today on
Cool.
the AOH stream on Wednesday, man. SNFR, subscribe, and on the back, you guys know it says "Let's Roll" because that's what's about on this channel, man. So shout out to all you guys. You guys have been asking me to do this, but yeah, everything's been going great, man. I'm enjoying the vacation, man. Like I said, I enjoy doing these streams with you, man. This is awesome.
I enjoy it too. I can tell you right now, I'm predicting some of your fans are going to request a shirt that says "for educational purposes" on the back.
Yeah, I've already got some people that told me that I should be having to here to stop the lies and stop the narratives. And absolutely, I have to get one that says for educational purposes. You're around the money with that.
I'm going to welcome in a special guest in a little bit. He is listening backstage. So, okay, that was him trying to read this. I've got to get a moderator. I've got to get a studio assistant or whatever. If there are any volunteers out there, let me read the topics. I'm going to say what they are. You know, let me try something new for those of you who are listening. The first person who sends in a super chat, super thanks, gets to choose what we talk about first. I don't know. That sounds manipulative. All right, here's what I want to go through. USA versus Germany. Is the media overhyping LeBron, or am I just a hater? And how would we know the difference? I have my own European basketball story I'd like to tell. Another topic, LeBron, act like you've been there before. If you're not familiar with that saying, we'll explain it when we get to the topic. We are going to talk about the disrespect for Larry Bird and the Dream Team a little bit. And we are also going to talk about racial comments in the sports media. We'll say that one to last. Okay. So having said all of that, let me, have we got any chats? Any chats popping up? Let me put those on the screen.
Shout out to everybody in the chat. Shout out to Vancouver. I saw Vancouver's in the building. Shout out to you guys, man. Thank you, Chip Ferguson, man, for the compliment on the t-shirt. Thank you, guys, man. I'm glad you guys love the Wednesday rants, man. I see you guys in the chat, man. Thank you.
And once again, with the calling, we're going to bring people in throughout the topics instead of waiting to the end. I rewatched last week's show, and even though I felt rude cutting people off, I don't think I cut people off soon enough. So it's going to be even harsher this week. You know, you guys have great things to say, but if I let you tell your entire life story, then other people aren't going to get to talk.
Hey, wait, can I add a topic to the conversation for today? A brief topic.
Yeah.
I saw that LeBron James was voted to be the flag bearer for the United States. We have to touch on this just briefly. We don't have to go long into it because this is kind of, once again, embarrassing for the United States for that man to be representing us as the flag bearer.
Yeah, I'm sure that would have naturally come up when I complain about Team USA. So with that in mind, I usually bring in a different special guest every week, but because this guy has been asking to talk about Larry Bird versus LeBron James for a while, that's going to go well today because I talked a little bit about Larry Bird in my previous video. Oh, and by the way, in case I forget, I'm going to have Johnny Arnett on next week. We're going to talk about his Jordan DPOY video. So everybody be sure to tune in. So having said that, we're welcoming back once again Hoops God. There he is.
Yes, sir. I'm ready. I'm ready.
Oh, nice. Nice. So let's go with here's what I want to say about USA versus Germany. I was trying to get the entire game so I could watch it because you guys know that the highlights don't tell the true story. And here's what I was able to get a really edited one, but it showed most of it. So LeBron's first bucket is a dunk from an outlet pass. You know, once again, to me, that means he's hanging out at the perimeter and sneaking back. Dennis Schroeder drains it in LeBron's face at the 8-18 mark. The next play, LeBron James wants to switch. But when he switches, that guy blows right past him, which leads to a foul. LeBron's second bucket, another lob from a teammate. Then Dennis Schroeder has LeBron on him again, plays with him for a minute, and then easily throws a pass right past him for an open bucket. Then Schroeder drains a three in LeBron's face. LeBron is giving Dennis Schroeder like 5 feet of space because of how easily Schroeder can go past LeBron. And to Schroeder's credit, he was slicing up the lane pretty well. And he used to do that when he was on the Lakers. That guy's a crafty little dude. Note, the first string is behind again, 11-6, after that second shot by Schroeder. 4 out of 4 of LeBron's points in that first half are from open dunks. And I see by reading the play-by-play of the second half, by the play-by-play, that he also missed a layup, but that isn't shown in the highlights because it's not a highlight. At 6:40, I see LeBron James throw an elbow at a German teammate. I see an offensive foul by LeBron, not called at 5:10. I see LeBron James watch Team Germany go right past him for a layup. Team USA takes the lead and extends the lead when the second unit goes in. This has happened every game, if I'm not mistaken, that the first string gets us behind and the second string has to make up for it. I also noticed that once someone else had to guard Schroeder and not LeBron, Schroeder went cold. Now remember, Schroeder's 6'1", shooting over the top of LeBron James when LeBron James was unfortunate enough to try and guard him. There was a very questionable call at the 106-minute mark remaining, and that didn't blow the whistle until the USA player fell down, which reminded me NBA players sure do like to fall down a lot. And unfortunately, the refs cater to that. It's 29-19 at the half. We end the game with a 4-point lead. Now, I know LeBron James ended up being the leading scorer, which means he must have taken a lot of shots in the second half. So if we only win by 4, was that a good strategy? And while Sports and Fitness Rants, you react to that first, and I'm going to go ahead and put the link for people to chime in on that.
Yeah, so, man, great breakdown, AOH. As usual, man, you're the master of the telestrator. I'm going to start calling you Mike Fratello, the czar of the telestrator, man. The way you be breaking these things down. I watched your entire video, the Colin Cowherd video that you did, that you were talking about, and the disrespect that Colin Cowherd was throwing toward the 92 Dream Team. Shout out to Uncut Hoops, man, for coming through the chat, man. Salute to you, man. Thank you for all your work you've been doing. But yeah, so we talk about LeBron James and the breakdown that you just gave, man. This is once again them manipulating the video footage, them, like you said, picking and choosing what they want to promote and what they don't. Same thing as LeBron James on defense. He picks and chooses when he wants to exert himself on the defensive end and all of those things. So like you said, he'll lag back on the defensive end and cherry pick for easy dunks and layups. And the problem for LeBron James, and one of the things that disgusts me about LeBron James, is once again the lack of humility from LeBron James. I saw some of the guys in the chat that was saying the same thing. LeBron James out there flexing, LeBron James out there doing the shoulder shrug. LeBron James is doing the corny stuff that he does, the lame things. But people want us to appreciate LeBron James, man. So yeah, it's really crazy when we think about this Olympic team. And once again, we must remember the 2024 Olympic USA team, they've been heavily favored in a lot of these games. But for some reason, like you said, they're not living up to the hype. And that's part of the problem with the comparisons to 1992. 1992, these guys lived up to the hype. Not only did they live up to the hype, but they exceeded the hype. And that's part of the reason why they helped push the game forward and they made the game global. LeBron James coming out of games, like you said, he'll get checked out of a game, and all of a sudden the team will go on a run. So it's really interesting, for me, like you said, the way they promote these things.
Hoops God.
So, to follow up on what Sports and Fitness was articulating about the whole Team USA experience, and of course, their quote-unquote flag bearer. And before I get started, shout out to Uncut Hoops, man. Yeah, keep dropping that fire content. But this is how I'm evaluating this now. When you're the best player, the team is supposed to be playing better while you're on the floor. Like, prime example, when I see a Larry Bird or Magic Johnson, Tim Duncan, Steph Curry, Larry Bird, so on and so forth. Like, your impact on the floor is supposed to have the team playing in a more with chemistry, continuity, and cohesion. Meaning, they're not supposed to be going on runs, and then when you're on the floor, the offense is stagnating. So now when I'm looking at this, just like AOH just mentioned, you're getting cooked by Dennis Schroeder. Like, you're having mental lapses out there, letting guys blow by you. Like, what are you doing? You're standing around finger pointing, and like, my thing is, when I see Michael Jordan shrug, I know Michael Jordan just buried a three in somebody's face. When I see LeBron doing this, well, he's either trying to blame a teammate or looking for the ref to bail him out. So now I'm like, wait a minute. You have all of this exceptional talent around you. Well, why are you still being embarrassed on the defensive side of the ball? Or when you have the ball in your hands, why is the game close, but yet they go on runs when you're not on the floor? So now that's telling me you monopolize the ball because you can't play off the ball, which has been a detriment to his basketball skill set for his entire career. So when I'm seeing him out here against a team that you're supposed to be beating by 43 points, you only win by 1, and then you're over here front running and shrugging. I'm sorry, I can't respect that.
Gary, I saw you in the waiting room. You are gone. I was just about to call on you. You guys just be a little bit patient.
Shout out to my man Retro Heat Check. Thank you for coming through the chat, man. Hey, I wanted to just add on with the Olympic stuff that we were just talking about, man. And once again, I just want everyone to understand, man, I am not rooting against the USA to win at all. What I'm here and I've been talking about is the comparisons between the 92 Dream Team and how they are not valid. They're not valid comparisons.
At all.
And, you mentioned all the shoulder shrugging and whatnot, and that's really why I put in the LeBron act like you've been here before. And this was brought up in the Barry Sanders documentary. I was going to release something that basically says Barry Sanders is the exact opposite of LeBron James. And Barry Sanders was very respected for it. He's just like, hey, I did my job. It's what I was supposed to do. And here's the ball. The play's over. I'm not interested in all this other crap. And LeBron James really, when he's getting away with offensive fouls, or even if it was a legal play against these skinny dudes from other countries, you don't need to do all that stuff. Like, I personally don't like the United States represented that way. Do your job and be humble, please. Can you do your job and be humble? And now he gets rewarded with being the flag bearer for these antics.
I wanted to add something about Dennis Schroeder. I'm sorry, AOH. I didn't mean to step on your toes there. So when we talk about Dennis Schroeder, one of the things that was funny to me, or I thought was ironic, is if you remember, like you mentioned, AOH, when Dennis Schroeder was on the Lakers, everyone kept talking about how Dennis Schroeder was garbage and he was this and that. He was a liability for LeBron James. He was carrying these guys. But now those same LeBron James fans want to pump up Dennis Schroeder and the German team and how skilled and talented this Germany team was in comparison to some of the competition that the USA Dream Team in 92 was going against. Once again, these people contradict themselves constantly. I found that was very interesting.
And I wanted to mention one thing too. Yeah, with the whole shoulder shrugging and, like you said, Barry Sanders. See, Barry Sanders had decorum. right? And why is that? He was raised with a father in the home that didn't allow that. And I'm not saying that every child raised does not get that level of training, but more often than not, if you don't have a father or some type of disciplinary, which it can be your mother or your grandmother, then we see when you become an adult, what do? You carry on like you've never been there before. I just wanted to mention that too.
Viewers, like I said, we're taking callers early and often per topic. So if you have something to say, let's hear from a LeBron fan. Tell us why we're wrong. Tell us why what LeBron did on the court was as good as it's being hyped up to be. Part of the reason that I'm triggered like this is that every thumbnail as I'm scrolling through YouTube is LeBron is that man. LeBron is the best player on Team USA because of whatever happened in the game against Germany. And even if he'd had a great game, isn't one game a little bit premature to get that carried away? But for me, reading the play-by-play and looking at what I've seen, it's not that impressive. But tell me why I'm wrong. So feel free to call in. And if not, we're going to keep going down the topic line.
Hey, come on, Tyler Kaiser. Tyler Kaiser, I see you in the comments crying and moaning about us already. So call up. AOH got the lines open. Why don't you guys ever call up, man? I don't understand why you guys always want to cry in the comments. Just call up. This is what we're here for.
To be safe. They like to be safe in the comments. They seen what happened to Gilbert Arenas, so that's like their warning, like, nah.
Oh, Gilbert.
Oh, yeah. Hey, shout out to Gilbert Arenas. He mentioned us on his No Chill Gil. I was like, oh, wow. So Gilbert Arenas is mentioning us now. I'm like, we really are making an impact now.
What did he say? What did he say?
So he questioned, he tried to challenge something that I said about Bird not being as efficient due to the size of the ball. Now, where I'm partially wrong, okay, the size of the ball didn't change. It was the material, which still substantiates what I said, because if you have a basketball with better grip, then customarily, you're not going to shoot better with it if it's made of better material. But for some reason, Gil wanted to try to hyperbolize it and I would say he tried to pour barbecue sauce on a chicken nugget. Like, Gil is really not that serious. I mean, no matter what way you spin it, when Bird was allowed to shoot the 3-ball more, he went 50, 40, 90. And as I said before, he did not grow up with a 3-point line. So no matter what Gil is saying, shout out to Gil for mentioning us, but bro, it's not that serious. I still was correct.
You know, it's interesting. I have the unfortunate experience of hearing some of Gilbert's arena when I'm watching other people's channel and they're taking snips from it. That dude is like, goes to volume 11 almost immediately trying to make a point. I'm like, why is everybody complaining about sports and fitness rants being unhinged when Gilbert Arenas can't like talk for 5 seconds without just going through the roof?
Yep, exactly. Tyler, there is no question, Tyler. I'm asking you to call up and say how we're hating on LeBron James. You're crying about the hate. There is no hate here. So call up and tell us where we're hating.
I got someone named Yo. I'm going to bring him in. I don't know if that's a real name. Hey, be respectful on here. We're not going to call you names. And if you drop any slurs on this channel, I will do everything I can to get you removed from YouTube. Yo, you are on.
You guys can hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
I'm not really a LeBron fan or a hater, but this is something I noticed. I was wondering, do y'all think he should be starting? This sounds crazy, but like, you think he should come off the bench?
Well, here's a question. Who are we going to blame on the first squad? Because I know that Embiid hasn't been great either, so it's not fair for me to say it's all on LeBron. But the reality is that LeBron's part of that starting squad in every game. And last time, it wasn't just the beginning. When the starting squad went back in, we lost the lead to Sudan, and it was the second string that had to pull us out both times. So we got to look at something there. And it's either the style of play, because I hear that we're playing LeBron-centric basketball, like the rest of the team is being forced to play LeBron-centric basketball. Now, you defend that. This is what I'm being told, and it's what I think is a weakness for the Lakers, is revolving around LeBron James. I think it holds them back personally. But you tell me, do you think that Team USA would do better with him coming off the bench?
Well, to be honest, I don't really have an answer to that.
Let me answer that.
Okay.
Let me add to what you guys are talking about. I think that's a really good, and I think that's a valid question. I've talked about on my channel in the past for the NBA regular season, not the Olympics, but I've said if LeBron James would sacrifice instead of playing 30, 35 minutes a game and not playing any defense, if LeBron James would play maybe 20, 25 minutes a game and give max effort on the defensive end, that would help the Lakers much, much more than what he's doing. So usually in Olympic play, you don't play as much as you would during a regular NBA season game. These guys play a little bit less minutes, right? The game is shorter. So LeBron James should be giving maximum effort on the defensive end. He's playing with other great players. There should be no excuses as far as the teammates that he has around him. So LeBron James should be giving the max effort on the defensive end and maybe play less minutes. Whether he's starting or not, I don't think is really irrelevant as long as he's giving that effort on the defensive end, because that's really the problem when he comes out of the game. The team seems to have more cohesion on the defensive end.
So I would, to answer his question, so he said, should LeBron be starting? I'm going to look at it two ways. Subjectively, no, I don't, because I believe he holds the team back. I believe he's not really utilizing his physical gifts as a benefit to the team versus being a detriment. Now, objectively, right, if LeBron was this pass first player, this selfless guy, blah, 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 he's the biggest player, I'm just talking about in his physical stature on the floor, even over Joel Embiid, because I legitimately believe LeBron is stronger than Embiid.
You know, so, they're about the same weight.
Right. So why not take the Bill Russell approach? Why not go out there, set solid screens for your teammates? Why not go out there?
Legal ones, by the way, please.
Right. And box out. Why not go out there and generate the hockey assists? Why not just go out there and have a defensive mindset, much like the late, great Kobe Bean Bryant, and get your offense whenever it's needed. Don't try to force it. Because when I see him, he's trying to force the offense rather than just simply letting the game come to him.
But this is why I'm asking, why did we only win by 4 points? Was it because of forcing that style of offense?
That's my point, because I legitimately believe that if he would go out there and just play a more team-oriented style of basketball, it wouldn't even be that close. Because again, don't the team goes as the leader goes? So if the leader is not giving max effort, just like Sports and Fitness Rant said, then why should the rest of the teammates give maximum effort? They're following the best player.
So, Yo, have you been able to watch any of the games full, any of these FIBA games?
I watched that Sudan game, I think it was. And then I watched the Germany one, too. Those are the two that I watched for sure that I can remember.
Okay, so if people are correct that those games shouldn't be that close, what did you see Team USA's weakness as?
Well, to be honest, like when I was watching LeBron, it's like he's not trying. That's what it feels like. I don't know. I don't know if that's his age or what, but
if this is the most aggressive LeBron fan I'm going to get on here, we're going to have a cakewalk. You're being very polite. It sounds like you're turning on LeBron on the show.
No, somebody get FYF up here. That's who I need.
Well, I don't really, because I'm more of a Jordan guy.
Oh,
when it comes to all that, like I just came on here because that's just a question about him coming off the bench. I've just had that question like in my head for a minute, because it's like, I don't know, he's just older.
Cool, Yo. I appreciate you calling in. Other callers, you're welcome to jump on. Let's go back to, hey, by the way, Hoops God, so feel free to just dive into your little tirade about Bird versus LeBron. I think you started it, but do you have a nice little compact little speech to give?
Yeah, so this is the thing that I've, doing this research and just being able to come to the conclusion without the media trying to Jedi mind trick me into believing that this particular player is better than this player because they just want you to believe it. Like, I feel like that's just complete blasphemy. But what I always hear is LeBron is this great all-around player. But when I'm seeing him play, I'm like, well, no, he's not. Because when I see all-around player, to me, you do a lot of things exceptionally well. Prime example, you're easy to play with. LeBron is not. Larry Bird is. You can play in any style, any system. LeBron can't do that. Larry Bird can. You can play and dominate with and without the ball. Well, we know LeBron James has no off-ball game because when he played off the ball, we saw what happened in 2011. And when he tried to play off the ball in 2019, he didn't even make the playoffs. and also in 2022. Don't let me forget that. So those three factors right there is showing me that, well, no, he's not all around. But let's even get further into it. Larry Bird has a better post game. The only time I seen LeBron really just legitimately play in the post was in Miami, where he had his most success. He went back to Cleveland and he reverted right back to the same LeBron, operating at the top of the key, trying to freight train to the goal and make those long kick out passes, which is just AAU basketball.
Hey, I saw Uncut Hoops in the chat. Uncut, feel free to call in or come on as a panelist one of these weeks.
Most definitely. But then we look at how you handle the basketball. I don't think Larry Bird ever led the playoffs in turnovers. Well, LeBron has led the NBA Finals in turnovers 7 different times, leading both teams. Then I look at rebounding. Now, you would think if you just look at LeBron and you look at Larry Bird, you didn't know anything. You'd be like, oh, man, that dude over there jacked up. He probably getting 12 rebounds a game. It's the complete opposite. Larry Bird for a career, 10 rebounds per game. And mind you, he's playing in an era with Charles Barkley, Adrian Dantley, Dennis Rodman, Hakeem Olajuwon, Patrick Ewing, David Robb, all of these monsters. And yet he's still a 10 rebound per game guy, right? Now, let's look at passing, which I feel like that's their closest comp. Now, LeBron, he's a good passer. But to me, Larry Bird is an exceptional passer because Larry Bird can do more than just pass from the top of the key. Prime example, when Larry Bird's coming off a screen, you have to overplay him. Why? The threat of him making that jump shot. He knows this. So when he's coming off that screen, he can see if you're playing too aggressive, give you a nice little sort of head fake, you're going to have to react. Now that brings Kevin McHale or Robert Parrish's man to come up and try to play help defense. Now, what does that do essentially? He leaves them open. So Bird can either hit them with a nice touch pass or a jump shot pass, easier bucket closer to the goal. Why? They played inside out. The goal back then was always to get the most efficient shot. And that's what I seen Larry Bird do better than LeBron in any metric of basketball. And I could go on, but those are just the main ones I wanted to touch on because I know the host, he wanted to see if somebody was going to join us.
Well, you remember on the live show a couple of weeks ago, somebody said that Larry Bird wasn't necessarily known for his passing, and that kind of blew my mind because his passing is what stands out to me when I think about Larry Bird. But when I made a little video about Larry Bird a couple of years ago, and I was looking for his passing and shooting highlights, and I was seeing him rebounding like just a monster. I mean, it was tenacious and it was crowded down there. You know, there were a bunch of people down there fighting for the rebound. Unlike now, everybody's already taken off to the other end, ready to shoot the 3-pointer. So did you watch that segment about that in my most recent video?
I did. And I wanted to applaud you on that because how you broke that down with Colin. I call him Colin Cowturd or Colin Coward. Both of them are perfect for him. I'm like, wait a minute. This guy is really trying to minimize the effectiveness that Larry Bird brought to that team. Number one, the floor spacing and the passing, because you have to honor him out there on the perimeter. So what does that do? That opens up the lane for Jordan, opens up the lane for Magic. It gives Charles Barkley more one-on-one opportunities, and also David Robinson. Don't let me forget him. But I'm like, wait a minute. This is Bird when he's had the back injuries, but yet he's still gritting it out, right? That's mental toughness. Versus this guy who played in the 2014 finals and had a cramp and had to come out of the game. Like, wait a minute. Did Colin Cowherd really forget all of this? Like, Larry Bird literally had a concussion in a playoff game. I mean, smack on the floor, hit his head. Went back, got whatever they did. I guess it must have gave him some cortisone shots, Tylenol. Boom, he comes back and checks into the game. But then you got this guy, LeBron James, will fake a hand injury and blame it on that, losing the NBA Finals. I'm like,
Import, I see you in the waiting room. I'm going to bring you in. I'm going to say one thing. I'm glad that you watched that segment that I did. I thought the most important part of that was the fact that Larry Bird, when he could only play as many games as LeBron is playing now, said it's time for me to retire. And we're celebrating a dude who's holding a franchise hostage when only delivering as many games as Larry Bird said, hey, I'm not good enough to deliver for my franchise anymore. I'm going to voluntarily retire before I get my contract, my money. Import. And you're on.
And I want to follow up and see what Bird did. I'm glad you said that. That showed that Bird understood self-awareness. Something else LeBron lacks.
Import. You got a question, comment? Unfortunately, we can't hear you. All right. We'll either hear him or we won't. or you can try back. Yeah, you mentioned self-awareness, Hoops God, and I think when you're raised a certain way, it bothers you subconsciously to go out there and say, man, I just accepted this money and I can't deliver.
Right.
I don't think any of these players today feel that way at all.
No,
They all have the mentality that they're owed more. No matter what they're getting, they're still owed more. We have James Kennels. James Kennels, you are now on. Hey, oh, is this a different screen name? You look familiar. But
Yeah,
you
I normally do Y2 hoops. It's YT hoops, excuse me. Yeah, how's it going, guys?
What's going on, Jay?
Not much. I just have a quick. So it's funny how you really have to be careful with narratives, right? Because one thing they kept on saying is, and you talked about Cowherd. If you guys touch on this, I'm sorry, but Cowherd was like, oh well, Bird was way past his prime. He had no business on that team. Now, so I decided to just look at the numbers. So 91-92 was his last year. He was past his prime. But if you look at his actual numbers, he was like 29-6 on 48, 40, 92 splits. So by any standard, he was amazing, just not as good as he was. He absolutely had business on that team. That was really all, though. I just wanted to throw that out there.
Well, James, you're basically quoting the video I just put out. So if you haven't watched it, and clearly you haven't, so I'm offended, but go and watch it because I said that exactly. And the other thing to add to that is that the season right before that, he played 75 games and his numbers were higher. So when he could give you everything he could, he did.
Right. Anyway, I'll take care. My bad for not watching yet. I'm supposed to be working. Take care, guys.
Hey, thank you for calling in.
Good, man. Thanks for calling in, man.
Indeed.
You got it. Peace, guys.
All right,
I wanted to touch up on Larry Bird and his high IQ. When we talk about Larry Bird, a lot of people, they don't ever want to mention Larry Bird's veteran savvy, the IQ of Larry Bird. And that's why Michael Jordan said, a lot of people were knocking Larry Bird off. They were saying that Larry Bird was a little bit older and hurt. And Michael Jordan said, man, give me Larry Bird, man. The things that he could do on the court. You mentioned the rebounding, hoop god, the passing ability, the veteran savvy, the IQ of Larry Bird. To me, Larry Bird was a much smarter basketball player on the court. You talked about the self-awareness. It wasn't just about himself, but also on the court. He was aware of everything that was going on. And the heart and the grit of Larry Bird is something that LeBron James has not even sniffed yet, man. LeBron does not have the heart or the grit of a Larry Bird, man. And I saw someone in the comment section say something about haters have been calling LeBron James a pass-first player. We've never called LeBron James a pass-first player. That's been the problem. A lot of people trying to say LeBron James is a pass-first player, but he's never been a pass-first player, man. That's the problem for LeBron James, man. LeBron James has been exposed over and over again. And when you compare him to a Larry Bird, think about Larry Bird, man. They'll call him a slow, unathletic white guy, and you mentioned the rebounding. How the hell is Larry Bird averaging 3 more rebounds a game than LeBron James? When you mention the guys who played in the era back then, let's not also forget that Larry Bird played in the same team as Kevin McHale and Robert Parrish, who happen to be very good rebounders. So it's not like Larry Bird's cherry-picking rebounders or rebounds playing with other guys that are not rebounders. Larry Bird was still averaging all these rebounds. And like you said, he was out there hustling for rebounds. How many times have you seen in AOH, once again, you have the video footage, how many times have we seen LeBron James grab flat-footed rebounds? He's not even jumping for these rebounds. He don't have to box anybody out. Oftentimes, he's the biggest player on the court. That was never the case for Larry Bird, man.
Yeah. And that's why I say he's underwhelming in that position, because in the 80s at that size, bro, you should be grabbing anywhere from 11 to 13 rebounds per game. I mean, that takes away possessions from your team or your opponent, and it gives your team extra possessions.
I'm gonna just go on to the next topic if we don't have more callers. I'm surprised. A lot of
Oh, AOH. I wanted to make another point now.
Yeah.
In the 2011 NBA Finals, we saw what happened with LeBron James and the meltdown. Now, I want to get to the 8-point game because they love to use that as a barometer to try to compare it to Larry Bird. But I said, okay, but Bird was giving you 15 to 20 rebounds, give or take, in whichever 8-point game that you want to use. Now, my question is, why couldn't LeBron do that? Because Dwayne Wade had the hot hand shooting like 55% from the field. So LeBron, you're telling me once again, you're the biggest player on the court. Like, you legitimately weigh more than Tyson Chandler. You can't go down there and snag 12 rebounds, 17 rebounds, and give D Wade 4 or 5 more shot opportunities. Clearly, he got the hot hand. But yeah, you want to stay out there on the perimeter like a spectator and just look at the action going on. So I'm like, okay, if y'all want to use the 8-point games, cool. Well, let's see what Bird did. Well, Bird led him in assists. He led him in steals. He led him in free throw percentage. He was doing other things to help the team, not to mention creating hockey assists as well. That's why I say that to say that LeBron is an all-around player, no, he's not. Larry Bird is the greatest all-around player of all time.
So for those of you who are just tuning in, the topic that we're focused on is Team USA being LeBron-centric and sacrificing themselves for the LeBron narrative, or are we just haters? Help us see specifics. I went and I tried to break down the game. I wasn't really impressed. It was kind of weird that LeBron James led the team in scoring, considering what I saw. But you know what? Please tell me why I'm wrong.
You know what's very interesting too from the LeBron James fans and the media is, once again, they continue to not hold him to any standards. And see, and that's what we're doing on a lot of our channels. We're holding the standard that the all-time greats set before these guys. We're holding that very standard. When you're labeled the best player on Team USA, when you're voted the captain of Team USA, when you're supposed to be beating teams by 30, 40 points, when you're favored by 40 points and you win by 1, you're not living up to the standard. And for some reason, the media, LeBron James fans, they never want to hold him accountable for when things are going astray, when things are not going right. So once again, they'll always highlight LeBron James and the plays that he does make. But what seems funny to me is I know that they're using this Olympics to try to pump up LeBron James in the Michael Jordan debate, which has never really been a true debate. It's never been a valid debate. Once again, Michael Jordan was winning in the '84 Olympics, playing alongside other college kids, going against grown men. There were no excuses for Michael Jordan.
Well, it's interesting, and I'll ask the viewers this. Does it make sense for LeBron James to be the flag bearer? I mean, are they doing it because he's so old? They think, oh, look, it's so cool that someone is this old and playing. That's a good reason to be the flag bearer. Or do they really think that he's that great of an athlete right now? What would be the reason to choose him as the flag bearer? Here's another topic that I wanted to bring up, and I disguised it as AOH's European basketball story. Did the rest of the world catch up, or is it the United States falling behind? And maybe it's both. I actually do think the rest of the world is catching up, and maybe we're falling behind. The reason I think that we're falling behind, or at least some evidence that, the reason I think the rest of the world might be catching up is when I first went to Europe in 1998, everybody was playing soccer on the street, or correctly named football. I don't know why the Americans named handball football. I wish it was just I don't know what's the deal with
ball.
Soccer and football. But here's the deal. France, in the streets, on the sidewalks, everybody's kicking the soccer ball. Sweden, the same thing. Belgium, the same thing. Spain, on the beach, on the streets. I went down into Morocco, same thing. Everybody is playing one sport. And I was there during the World Cup. My God, those people took that shit seriously. If you're growing up caring about a sport that much, you're probably going to be better than the United States. Whereas me growing up, I only played football, basketball, and baseball. And so the next time I went back to Europe, or one of the times I went back to Europe later on, that was changing. People were playing basketball on the streets. And similarly, the United States is better at soccer than we used to be. And you see a lot more kids playing soccer now. It's kind of leveling out. At least as many playing soccer as football and basketball, maybe more. I don't know. So what do you think of that? In terms of the rest
you made a great point about the soccer, and I've made a similar comparison in one of my videos. And what I talked about is when I was growing up in the 90s, in America, obviously, that soccer players were viewed as being soft. Soccer was known as a soft sport. So in America, we played the man sports, football, basketball, baseball, hockey, things of that nature, right? These are the sports that were popular. Not saying that the soccer players were soft individually or that certain countries were soft, but soccer players in America were viewed as being soft. And why were they viewed as being soft? Because soccer players were known for flopping. That's what they were known for doing. They get bumped, they go flying onto the ground, and they're on the floor for minutes. Who does that remind you of right now? That happens to remind you of someone named LeBron James. That's why the soccer players were viewed as soft. When you talk about the European countries, let's think about women's basketball. How come the USA women's team is still blowing teams out by 30, 40 points? No one caught up to the women yet. Why is that? How come the USA men's team in soccer, like you said, soccer's become way more mainstream in America over the last 20 years, man. But why haven't we caught up to the rest of the world? Because it's not our sport. We're still far behind. You think the USA is going to win the World Cup? Do you think the USA is going to be known as the great powerhouse in soccer? No, we'll never be known as Italy or Brazil or Argentina or England or some of these other great soccer countries. So when you talk about did the world catch up to us or is it the USA's falling off? Like you said, it's a little bit of both. But once again, yes, the world may have gotten better over the last 20 years, let's say. But once again, if the USA was improving over the last 20 years, then they wouldn't have reached the glass. So you're telling me that the Sudan, I'm going to say it again, they were underdogs by 40 points. So obviously South Sudan has not caught up to the world. But when you watch the game, it looked like they sure did. Because once again, the USA is lollygagging. We've lost sight of the fundamentals. Guys have poor footwork. They have poor handling. And then we think about the way the game was officiated in the United States. They don't officiate the game anymore. So you're not even holding the players to a standard that you hold the other players to. So when you hear the people today knock guys like Bob Cousy, the guys in the 50s and the 60s, and where they dribbled the basketball, the way that they shot, things of that nature, once again, why were those guys officiated stricter than the guys today? If they weren't as skilled 40 years ago, 30 years ago, then why were they being officiated stricter? Should NBA today be the most strict enforcement of the rules that we've ever seen because they're so skilled? And yet they're not. So this is part of the problem for the United States.
Yeah, yeah. Go ahead, Hoop Scott.
So yeah, to follow up on what Sports and Fitness was saying, I mean, like everything was on par, but I wanted to add in. See, when they were playing soccer, like you mentioned, a lot of people don't understand that actually that's like it's a bridge to basketball. Just say if you just switch over to that sport. Prime example, look at Steve Nash and Hakeem Olajuwon. Great hand-eye coordination, great footwork, right? When you're playing soccer, you develop that naturally. So the guys who play soccer and then go to basketball, they already have an advantage. And not to mention, like Hakeem played volleyball and handball. So that's another reason why his hand-eye coordination was so exceptional. But
Eric Hall, I see you in the waiting room. Get to you in just a second. Hey, speaking of the multi-sport athlete, you remember Steve Nash doing a soccer kick to Sotomayor in the dunk contest?
Yeah,
that was pretty sweet.
Yeah, and then I wanted to also mention that, see, when the European kids started to see American basketball, prime example, the '92 Dream Team, they took the game global. And then you get Kobe Bryant. Look at his impact on China. Like, they literally worship him. So now they're saying, okay, not just soccer, but we can play basketball. But what they're doing versus what the Americans are doing, the Americans are playing all these AAU games, right? They're playing 6, 7, 8 games. They're practicing maybe 1 or 2 times. And Gino Auriemma said this, the coach of UConn. It's the complete opposite overseas. Overseas, they're practicing 6, 7 times. They're playing 1 game. So that's why when you see the international game, they're starting to, I won't necessarily say they're catching up. They're just executing America at what America used to do. They're following the path of those 90s guys and then the Kobe Bryant guys. Versus today, they want to just play AAU ball and get up and down the court and shooting threes.
Eric Hall.
Anyway, send the link for Uncut Hoops, man. He's asking to come in.
Oh, I know. I've pasted it about 35 times, and it's also up on the screen. So yeah, you guys look in the chat if you want to see the call-in link. I'm trying to write it in the description on my own channel, and I can't do it. I don't know why I can't comment on my own channel, which is pretty weird. But I am Eric Hall. Do you think that it was the United States falling behind or the rest of the world catching up? Does LeBron James deserve to be the flag bearer, or which of the topics did you want to talk about?
Well, are you able to hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay, awesome. Great to be here with you, gentlemen. It's a combination of the two, right? So I look at let's go back to the children's level. Let's look at the tortoise and the hare. How did the tortoise catch the hare? Care, taking breaks, taking shortcuts, laying down, resting, all those type of things. So that's how one thing we look at that, right? And then when you look at someone's ability to catch up in anything, right? They would have to have some type of advantage or something that you don't have. So for example, I know you mentioned South Sudan, right? And they were 40-point underdogs, and they still came within one. So let's look at something. Let's look at, you can take this for here or anywhere in the world. Where are the best basketball facilities? Are they in the United States? Or are they somewhere else? Can you go to places like Germany, like all these other places? Do they have anything comparable to what is here from a basketball standpoint? All right. So that's one. When we talk at universities that play basketball at a high level, all of those are here in the United States. All right. And we talk about training facilities, all the best training facilities, not even like basketball. Like we got here where if we want to go to cryo, we can go to cryo. We want to go get a massage, we can go get a massage. Like if I wanted to go right now, I don't have to travel a long distance to get any type of treatment that I want to get. All right. Now we can question nutrition based on some places have more natural foods than we have here, but there is nothing to suggest that overseas or other parts of the world they have something equal to or better than what we have here, right? From all those different aspects, even the best leagues. So, and when you take that into consideration from a logical standpoint, that would have to mean is, yes, they may have gotten better, but there is a high level of regression from where this used to be to where we're at right now.
Yeah.
I posted U.S. was favored over 40 against Angola, whoever they were faced with, and they were able to win by 40.
Yeah.
U.S. was favored by 40 here, but they were only able to win by 1 point. And so for these individuals who say, well, LeBron was never favored in the finals. Well, why should he be when he was favored by 40, only delivered by 1? So that's my kind of what I got from just like an overall logical standpoint and cutting out all the fluff like they like to do.
Very good. Thank you very much. I am Eric Hall.
Yo, you made some great points right there, man. I really like what you said about the advantages that the other countries should be perceived of having when you're talking about those things. And the USA obviously has all the advantages over these other countries, man. You really made some great points, man. Thank you for calling up.
Yeah,
but you know what? If you want to be the best, you find a way to be the best. I don't like Scottie Pippen was whining about playing in the dirt during the Last Dance, and I was like, dude, I played in the fucking dirt.
Mm-hmm.
I had this piece of metal on the side of a barn and stepping on thorns and shit playing basketball, but eventually you get to where you don't have to do that. Callers, if you're wondering, the link is over in the chat, so watch whenever I post it. I'm going to post it right now, as a matter of fact, if you want to call in. And it's interesting what you said about soccer being perceived as a soft sport. That's an offensive thing to say nowadays, I'm sure, but definitely being raised in a football town, it was just the mentality. I definitely thought of it as a softer sport. That you don't go through hitting drills at soccer practice, do you?
No,
Right.
no, not at all.
Did you guys have eye openers?
We called it the Oklahoma drill.
That's where you lay on your back and you get up and you go and try and kill the other person.
Yep.
Yeah, you don't have that in soccer practice.
See that right there? That separates the men from the boys.
Yeah. Yeah, and see, that's no insult to soccer players or those countries. But once again, when you watch soccer back in those days, what did we see? We saw a lot of the flopping, a lot of the crying. So when we see the NBA players doing this over the last 5 or 10 years or so, this is what I think about. I'm like, damn, man, we've gotten really soft because grown men should not be acting like that. They shouldn't be carrying on like that. And we all think about LeBron James. When you hear the word flop and you see a 6'9", 260-pound dude doing these things, it's embarrassing.
CJ, I'm about to bring you on. Don't go anywhere. Yeah, when I tried to get into soccer or give it a fair chance, it was a lot of running. So if you want to say that people are in shape, I'll give you that. But when I saw all the flopping and the laying on the ground right until the stretcher came out, I was like, I can't get into this.
I wanted to mention too, because I know a lot of them, they'll proclaim, oh, well, Dennis Rodman was doing it and Bill Laimbeer. Yeah, those guys were selling the call, but they weren't the superstars. You didn't see Isaiah Thomas flopping. You didn't see Larry Bird flopping. You didn't see Magic Johnson flopping.
It's not the same. It's such a cop out to just try and say that. I mean,
you're right though, who got?
CJ, you are now on.
Can y'all hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yes,
What would you
sir.
like
All
to
right, I
say?
just wanted to talk about this soccer versus basketball thing. I'm from the Caribbean, so soccer's in my DNA, but I grew up watching basketball because of Jordan. When you talk about the floppers, sports and fitness rants and soccer, there's a difference. The soccer field is like 10 times the size of a basketball court. It's 90 minutes long. You up until 2020, you could only have 3 substitutions, and once you get substituted, you can't come back in the game. What does that mean? That means you're winded. Most of the people who don't get substituted are playing 90 minutes with only one halftime break. So the flopping came about. People, not all. Some of these guys are lazy, but some of these guys, you're tired. Somebody trips you accidentally. You make a meal of it so you can catch your breath. It's not honorable, but I can understand it. For example, if you look at the size of a soccer field, some of these guys, like the defenders, they have to guard an area basically the size of a basketball court, and they have to do that throughout with no timeouts.
Yeah.
So I can understand that a little bit. It's shameful, it's dishonorable, but I understand that. But you have to look at on a basketball court, like for you to be doing that on a basketball court with the fans literally right next and the
Yeah.
soccer fans are all the way up in the stadium. The basketball fans are right there looking at you flop, doing dishonorable shit like that. All like, how could you do that as someone who claims to be the greatest person of all time, like greatest basketball player of all time? How could you do that? How could you, you know what I'm saying? How could you cheat the game like that? But that's not even my main point. My main point about the catching up, the world catching up versus US being stagnant. In soccer, the rules don't change that often. Like I said, it was only until 2020 where you got 5 substitutions. The rules stay pretty much the same. In the NBA, they will change the rules just for a guy they want to promote. Like look at LeBron, gather step, all that. They'll give him all. They change the rules completely just for him. So if you got every generation of player playing under different sets of rules, it's gonna be confusing. It's gonna be, it's gonna muck up the talent pool a little bit. So I think the fact that the NBA is so eager to change the rules to compensate for their players' lack of skills is why it's kind of easier for the NBA guys to get caught up on. While the soccer guys, it's gonna be harder. Like Robin said, it's gonna be like 2050 until the US wins the World Cup. It's gonna.
Those are good points from CJ.
Well, let me defend myself a little bit here because he
Okay.
was saying some good things. And listen, man, he made some really excellent points about the size of a soccer field and amount of running. Listen, let me be very clear here. I'm not saying anything against soccer and the validity of the sport. That's a very tough sport. Those guys are in excellent condition, man. I respect soccer players. I'm giving you the exact facts of the view of someone growing up in the 90s in America and how soccer players were viewed as a whole in generalities. I'm not saying that, England was a soft country or everyone from the Caribbean is soft because they play soccer. That's not what I'm saying. If you were an American growing up in the 80s and the 90s and you watched soccer or you thought of soccer, you thought of it as being a soft sport compared to the grown men that I watched playing baseball, basketball, football. And why was that? Because once again, those players played like grown men. They gave off the grown man energy. They weren't lollygagging, flopping around, none of these things, faking injuries, none of this stuff. So once again, this is why I relate to the NBA now to the soccer players back then. Like we said, soccer is becoming a much more bigger sport in America. We know it's always been global, but now in America, more kids are starting to go into soccer, and they're not playing football right now. They're not playing basketball. Look at Dennis Rodman's daughter. She's one of the greatest soccer players on the women's national team. So obviously he steered his daughter into soccer, and I respect soccer a lot. I'm just giving you the perspective of an American growing up in the 80s and the 90s and how they were viewed because of the way that they rolled around on the floor for minutes at a time. Stretchers coming out for these guys. But I 100% get what he's saying about these guys playing all these minutes in a very large field. People don't realize you can fit an entire basketball court in the penalty box of a soccer field, guys. That's how large these soccer fields are.
Yeah, that was one of my turnoffs. It was a little bit. It required a little bit too much conditioning. I was like, okay, I'm just running back and forth constantly.
And I also wanted to say this too in regards to the flopping in basketball. When I see James Harden, Chris Paul, and of course the most notorious one of them all, LeBron James, that's telling me that you're trying to junk up the game. You have no integrity because rather than doing it the honorable way, you're trying to utilize subterfuge and chicanery, which I cannot respect that. That's why when you see that in the NBA, it's like, bro, really? I mean, you're an all-time great. You have to resort to flopping. That's like I'm taking money from a homeless guy. Like, come on, man. Like, that's no honor in that. If you can't do it the upright way, you don't deserve it. And if I want to go further, that's why you have a guy out of all the other ones. Shout out to Sports and Fitness Rants. He put like a montage of the all-time greats. None of those guys had to ask for their respect, except for one person. If you have to flop and do all of this, you're not worthy of respect. You know, I just wanted to put that out there.
Thank you. Chaz, do you have something to say about?
Oh, that's my guy. Hey, listen.
Okay.
This young brother right here, basketball knowledge is worldly.
All right, lay it on us. Let's hear some knowledge.
Man, all the propaganda that's being pushed for this dude, man, it's ridiculous. Like, I'm like, all these dudes glazing him and he's the best player on Team USA. He is. So my thing is this. So by y'all logic, right? If he's 40 years old and he's the best player in the most talented era on the most talented team, shouldn't that mean that this is the weakest era ever? Or we give him credit for this, right? Don't that mean we have to criticize him? And don't that mean that these seasons in the NBA should go against him because he's still this good and he's playing with another all-star on his team, Anthony Davis? I'm like, you can't pick and choose and, oh, no, these years don't count. But then at the same time, he's the best player on Team USA. He's carrying Team USA. It just don't make no sense to me.
Well, you know what? During the regular season, even the people who glazed for LeBron James couldn't say that he was, the best player in the NBA. They even went down to like only putting him in the top 10, which I still don't agree with. He can't be one of the top 10 players in the NBA. But here we are in the Olympics with the best of the best representing the United States, and now he's the best player on the team. Something has to be wrong if everyone else has been reduced to that level. You know what it is? It's the exact same thing that's happened to Dwayne Wade, to Kyrie Irving, to Kevin Love, to Anthony Davis. You go on to LeBron's team, and now you've gotten worse for some reason.
But remember, he makes everybody better if you let the media tell us that.
Oh, my bad. I'm a hater, though. You know, you can't listen to me. I'm a hater.
He a super team merchant. That's all. And shout out to my guy Pluto. Me and my guy was having this conversation. He only compete at the highest level, or he only like gives maximum effort when he has the deck fully stacked in his favor. Like, I'm like, that's just completely disrespectful to the guys on the Lakers, Austin Reeves, Taurean Prince, D'Angelo Russell. Them guys had amazing seasons this year, Rui Hachimura, and he don't go out there and lay it all on the line for those type of guys. When they're lower tier guys, lower name guys, he don't go out there and compete. But I'm seeing all these people on Twitter and all this talk about, oh, he's connecting these guys on defense, whoop-de-whoop. I'm like, yeah, of course. He's playing with Bam Adebayo, Anthony Davis, Derek White, and Drew Holiday. Of course he gonna look good defensively. But I'm
Chaz, I got a question for you.
The games, these games shouldn't even be this close. I'm like, if this is the most talented era, yes, obviously the world has gotten better. But still, shouldn't the gap between the NBA and the world still be the farthest? Shouldn't they be blowing all these teams out by 30? I mean, the dream team was MJ, Magic, and them. They was blowing dudes out by 40. It's easy. So I'm like, it just don't line up. It don't make no sense to me, period.
Well, the people that are placing the bets in Vegas, the people that are saying what Team USA should be winning by, they're not basing that on where the world was in 1992. They're basing that on where the world is right now, which means we are supposed to be beating them by that much right now. So something's wrong. Doesn't matter how shitty the world was in 92 or how good the world was in 92. We're talking about right now. And the analysts are looking at the rest of the world right now. We're supposed to be winning by that much.
It just don't make no sense. All these years got to go against them, man. They have to.
Hey, wait, what was the question you were going to ask?
Oh, yeah, I had a question for you, Chaz. All right, so are LeBron fans not going to add to the list that he was the flag bearer? Say, hey, he was the flag bearer for the Olympics. He has to be the GOAT.
Oh yeah, they add all the positives to the list. They don't acknowledge none of the negatives. They add all the positives. They don't acknowledge nothing else but that.
Chad, thank you so much for calling in. Call back later if you want to. I want to read a super chat. I got a super chat from Michael. Goddamn, I can't read my screen. Silberg, Who's more to blame for the current state of the NBA? LeBron James, who's basically taking what's given to him, or Adam Silver steering it into a ditch? Man, this comes up a lot, and it's a sensitive topic for me because of passing the blame. I think that they kind of came together. Obviously, Adam Silver is to blame because being the guy in charge, you could stop it. You could bring it to an end. And LeBron James could also say, hey, I need to set an example. And just because they're going to allow me to cheat, that's not how I should play the game. So, you know, is it the commissioner or is it the players? Everybody should have a personal responsibility in it. But what's interesting to me is the timeline is almost the same. Adam Silver and LeBron James and the amount of this BS that's taking place. So the bigger question to me is Adam Silver allowing it for the sake of LeBron James? Yes, LeBron James is able to get away with it thanks to Adam Silver, but is Adam Silver allowing it because of LeBron James? It's a chicken or the egg type of thing. Call in if you want to talk on that. Sports and fitness. Robin, what do you got to say about what I said?
I mean, listen, when he says, he's taking what's given to him, I don't believe he's taking what's given to him. Maybe we can say a little bit, but LeBron James is crying for everything. Everything that LeBron James has been given his time in the NBA, he's cried for. I mean, look at LeBron James still crying to this day about foul calls or lack of foul calls when your team is a plus 500 in the free throw differential. What the hell are you crying about? LeBron James is always whining about something. It's never good enough, and Adam Silver bends over. So, yeah, he might be giving some of these things, but he's crying for everything. He's always pouting and moaning. We all know about the temper tantrum against the Boston Celtics a couple of seasons ago, that disgraceful display. These are the kinds of things I'm talking about. His fans don't want to talk about these things. I mean, I don't get what Adam Silver's thinking, because if he's a businessman, if the NBA is a business, this is not good for business, because once again, the product is suffering. Now we have taken to the Olympics, the product is still continuing to suffer. When we think about the NBA All-Star game, for example, what I remember growing up about the NBA All-Star game is it was supposed to be a show for the fans. It was supposed to be a display of skills and all these things that these guys can do on a high level for the fans. NBA All-Star Weekend was supposed to be for the people. The slam dunk contest, the three-point shootout, the All-Star Game was supposed to be a culmination of the entire weekend. It was supposed to be a celebration of the NBA for the fans, for the people. They've lost sight of this. So they're out there taking 143 pointers in the All-Star Game. It was ridiculous right now. And this is what we're alluding to. How can the game be pushed forward when the All-Star Game is a joke? This goes to part of the problem.
Callers, I know you've got a lot of good things to say. I just want to mention I'm putting the link to call in the comments, and I also added it to the description of this video on my channel. So if you're having problems looking at it, I have now edited the description of the video. Go and read the description if you can't see the call-in link here on the right. We're going to end up talking about racism here in a little bit. I imagine the phones will blow up then. But Hoops God, I didn't let you go. Did you want to add on to what Sports and Fitness said?
Yeah, about the whining and complaining. I mean, this is another thing. When I say I don't see how people put him in the conversation with Larry Bird, because look at the nuance Larry Bird brought to the game, the 50, 40, 90. He done it and went back-to-back seasons. I mean, from 83 to 87, like Larry Bird, when he peaked, his shooting splits were well over 50, 40, 90. That's the nuance factor that he brought to the game, on board with being a positionless player, right on board with Magic Johnson. But this guy LeBron comes to the league and he doesn't have enough help, and he's saying we're top heavy, and then when he doesn't get Kyrie Irving, he puts out these passive aggressive tweets talking about maybe it's me. Like, dude, you are softer than wet toilet tissue. Like, you don't want to compete against anybody. And I don't know if y'all remember this, but when he was having that whole rant about we're top heavy and we need this, we need another playmaker, Charles Barkley was like, you got Kevin Love and Kyrie Irving, for crying out loud. How much more help do you need? And I guess Shaq had to play devil's advocate because Shaq started going back and forth, and it was entertaining. But the whole point is, well, Michael Jordan didn't have a Kyrie Irving. He didn't have a Kevin Love, a Dwayne Wade, Chris Bosh. He won 6 championships. Tim Duncan has never played with an all-NBA caliber first team outside of David Robinson, and he was already on the back nine of his career. As Greg and Tony Parker, they never made first team all-NBA. Tim Duncan didn't complain about help. So you're supposed to be on this level with Jordan and the Kobe's. Why are you complaining about help? Kobe
We got
Bryant
Uncut
said,
Hoops in the waiting room.
oh yeah,
Let's go. Bring him
in.
in.
Bring Uncut in. Yeah, I can cut
And
that off. Bring
I
Uncut
got,
in.
you know, Uncut Hoops goes through some of the pain that I'm not willing to go through. I got to admit, some of the shit that comes out of the mouths of these analysts I hear from going to his channel. I can't. But Uncut, welcome to the channel. Thanks for calling in. What would you like to say, sir?
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
All right. I just wanted to pull up this article I saw today. Nick Wright says, I care more about LeBron's legacy than Team USA. That is a verbatim quote that I saw in an article today. And I think we all kind of felt that, but for him to say that out loud it's kind of mind-boggling to hear that. LeBron over country, literally.
Wow. And it looks like country's putting LeBron over country the way that they're catering to him. I mean, when the competition gets tougher and the refereeing gets tighter, I'm hoping it's going to when we get in the actual Olympics. Maybe the entire Olympics has been compromised. But, you know, we're going to lose some of these games in the actual Olympics if they call the game correctly. So you're going to have to move away from LeBron James if you want the United States to get the gold. But maybe it's more important to talk about the 39-year-old flag bearer.
I wanted to say something. Nick Wright is the epitome of what you call a Hall of Fame brown noser that idol worships another human being, that bleeds blood just like the rest of you and I, and puts his socks on just like the rest of you and I. I've never in my life seen another human being get on his knees and disgustingly worship another human. Just check Exodus 23-6.
Uh-oh.
It's disgusting.
You know, I just want to say, yo, shout out Uncle Hoops, man. I've been a supporter of your channel, man, for a long time, man. I was following you when you were over on Instagram, man. So much respect to all the work that you've been doing, you know what I'm saying, standing up to the lies and the narratives, man. And when you read off a comment like that from Nick Wright, you know what's really disturbing about that comment is how blatantly they are with it now. No one's even hiding it anymore. They're just blatantly saying these things, just making it all about LeBron James. No one cares about the integrity of the game anymore. No one cares about respecting the history of the game. None of these things, man. So it's very disturbing for these people to make these statements. The way that Nick Wright talks about the past players, the way that Colin Cowherd was so dismissive of the USA Dream Team, saying things like, oh, AD's greater than Patrick Ewing, and this guy's better than that guy. I mean, just dismissing these great players as if they were nobodies. But we all know what the agenda is. They must continue to tear down Michael Jordan's contemporaries, Michael Jordan's era, to make it seem like he wasn't beating anybody. And for Nick Wright to say that he cares about LeBron James' legacy even more than Team USA is disgusting, because this is what we were alluding to with LeBron James being chosen to be the flag bearer for the United States, man. LeBron James has no integrity. He has no honor. He has no class. He does not respect the game of basketball. He cheats the game of basketball. He cheats the fans. And they're going to make this man the flag bearer? It's absolutely disgusting.
You know what he'll say when we get the bronze? Check my stats.
Hey, and let me say this. You don't win bronze. You win gold. You receive bronze, okay? I want to make sure the chat understood what I said. You do not win bronze. You receive bronze. You
Hey,
only
Uncut.
get gold.
Do I understand correctly that you have your third video out talking about the disrespect of the 92 Dream Team? I think I saw yet a third one was being released or is released today.
Yeah, I released one today, but I got a couple more. And I'm American like you guys. So it's a tough position to be in where you want to root for your country, USA, but at the same time, you got these narratives tearing down the country that passed. So I feel the responsibility, like you guys, to uphold the past, but still, I mean, support USA now, even though some of the players you don't like. You're American at the end of the day. That's what you do. But it is tough.
But they're making it harder.
I support the American team too, like we were saying. We're not rooting against Team USA, but what I want these guys to understand is the comparison between 92 Dream Team is not valid. People make it seem as if we dropped the 92 Dream Team in Olympic play today, that they would be getting blown out by South Sudan and Germany and some of these other teams. That's not the case, man. Those players would be fine if we dropped them in Olympic play today.
Hey, if we don't win the right way, I'll cheer against Team USA. I don't want Team USA to win because of ref manipulation. I don't want us to win the wrong way. What's the point of pride in country if we win the wrong way?
Right. Like,
and
Oh, go ahead, Uncle. My fault.
I say I'll give LeBron credit too, because I mean he made some big shots in the Germany game, the South Sudan game. He made some huge shots. The thing is that worries me is you got a 39-year-old guy basically going kind of 1v5, everyone's sitting around watching him. So when those shots aren't falling, and guys like Jason Tatum frustrates me so much because like the skills, like his post-up skills, when he drives the basket, goes up soft. Just the pieces around this team, it's almost like LeBron or Curry or bust, and that does worry me a lot.
Cool, man.
What I wanted to say was, as long as Team USA is winning in an upright manner, I'm all for it. I don't want to see the chicanery. I don't want to see the trickery and all this nonsense and all these unnecessary narratives. Just go out, play great basketball, play the right basketball, and win. But no, all of this, this guy's doing, I don't care about none of that. I just want to see good basketball.
I don't want to hear LeBron fans come at me because I said I would cheer against Team USA if we won wrong. When your boy, Nick Wrong, says LeBron's legacy is more important than Team USA's. If you want to go after somebody, go after him. Hey, Uncut, I appreciate that you not only deliver a story, but you provide the footage and you do your research. Good work on your channel, and I appreciate you calling in.
Yo, Uncut, man. Yo, would you ever want to come on the Sunday live stream that we do on Michael Jordan Fans of the Best, man?
Yes, sir. Come
Yeah,
on
most
up and join
times
us.
I'm free Wednesdays and like most times in the week. Sundays is tough. Sometimes I'm working, sometimes I'm not. This Sunday, I think I am working though, so I'll
Well,
figure
you
out
have
a
an
time.
open invitation, man. Anytime you want to come on the Sunday live stream, if you have a day off or whatever the case may be, man, it would be great to have you on there, man, for your insight. Like I said, all the things that you've been doing, the great work that you put out, man. Much respect to you.
Yes, indeed.
Thanks.
Uncut, man. Keep dropping that fire content, man, because you're doing the people a service that they need out there.
Yes, sir. Good work.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you for calling in. I've got BUTV in the waiting room. We're going to bring him in. I know that we have obligations, so we're going to have to wrap this up in the next 30 minutes, and we haven't even gotten to the racism. That's when the phones are really low up. So let's welcome.
Let's go to 5:15.
Okay. Welcome, sir. You know what? I don't even know if I'm saying is BUTV or am I supposed to say Boo TV?
It's Boo. It's Boo. What's happening? What's happening,
Shit.
people?
I was wrong.
Right,
Welcome.
How y'all doing, man? Appreciate you.
What's
Thanks for
going on,
having
big
me
dog?
on. Chilling, man. I just wanted to touch on this LeBron James Olympic stuff, man, because it's mind-boggling the times we are living in now. When I watch LeBron James, and all the publicity surrounding him and Team USA, and how he has hijacked the stage, I feel like I'm watching The Boys. And when I see LeBron James, I see Homelander.
Yeah.
And when I see the media and the fans, I see all those rabid supporters supporting him. It's wild. And listen, they out here glazing and praising this man to no end about victories against Germany and South Sudan. No disrespect, because you got to say that with these countries. Now, you got to say no disrespect, or they're going to try to cancel. Let's call it what it is.
Yeah.
And you mentioned this earlier, AOH. Despite the spread being lopsided and the games were closer than they were supposed to be, you got people out here saying the dream team wouldn't have had any more success against Germany and South Sudan. And this just proves the advancement of the world in international basketball.
What?
And the 90s didn't play anything like what they're seeing now. If I had a double-barrel shotgun, I pray for my face right now. Every time I hear things like this, it blows my mind. And while I do believe the international stage has gotten better, I also feel like Team USA has regressed. And I think it's more about play style than actual personnel. And I think the Dream Team had superior players top to bottom, but Team USA is still rolling out a roster that is leagues above all the other teams they are facing.
That's what I'm saying. We're doing something wrong. We're not playing correctly if we've got this talent and it's this close.
Because they don't practice. They just go out and play. They don't practice.
Yeah,
I've got
right.
I just want to say, Dallas, I see you in the waiting room, but we'll give Boo TV a little bit longer. Did you get it all out? You want to vent a little bit more? I know it's frustrating.
I know y'all got 30 minutes. Let me just wrap it up. Let me wrap it up. And with these preliminary wins against Germany and South Sudan, man, you cannot possibly expect a level-headed person to sit here and be impressed by what they saw. Regardless of the play style, you have damn near a full-blown all-star roster. And the people that aren't all-stars are S-tier role players. And you're trying to convince me that the game should have been close because Germany and South Sudan has a handful of NBA players on their roster? They're rolling out people like Dennis Schroeder, Daniel Theis, Wyndham Gabriel. And I can promise you the majority of the NBA fans don't even know who Gabriel is. I'm a Lakers fan. He played for the Lakers, and I barely know who this guy is.
Oh, I remember him because I remember poor Winion there turning his head when LeBron was slamming the ball onto the ground 3 times and saying, motherfucker can get a rebound when he wasn't getting any goddamn rebounds that game. That poor, he's like, goddamn, this is how Americans act. I'm going back to the South Sudan. Hey, Boot TV, I appreciate that you did a breakdown of one of my videos. If you've done more, I need to go look at them. But thank you for calling in.
What's your YouTube page, bro, so I can subscribe to you?
It's Boot TV.
Appreciate it. Boot TV, that's all it is.
Much respect to you, man. I've
TV.
seen some of your work, man. Thank you for calling in, man. Thank you for the support and stuff, man. For real, man. Keep doing your thing.
It's at Boot TV. B-U-T-V is how you spell it out. Thank you again for calling in. And feel free to call back in a little bit if you have more to say. I'm going to let Dallas say his bit. And Dallas, you are on.
What's up, fellas? How y'all doing today?
Welcome.
What up, man?
Big dog.
Yo, I just want to thank you guys, man. It's like to find someone who's actually telling the truth about what's going on is beautiful. I'm gonna say this one little thing about USA basketball that I find intriguing because I was searching everywhere to hear some truth, and that's how I came across you guys. Because I was like, hey, nobody gonna talk about this, but I'm looking at how all these games are close, and they're trying to figure out why they're close. And I'm saying to myself, like, anytime you got LeBron James facilitating who can't dribble, then the games are going to be close and hard because you don't have a person that can really have a go-to move to get to the basket and create for others. But they never talk about that. They always just say he plays well. Even though the games are close, they're trying to figure out why they're close. When you got all these guys, like you could go through Anthony Edwards, at least he can get to a spot and score. And the games probably would not be close. But I love the fact that you guys are bringing this education to everybody because not a lot of people they feel like they got to go with the narrative because they're looking at the stats, even though your eyes are telling you the truth. You're looking at it, you're like, this guy cannot really dribble. He really don't got a jump shot. But it's the league is like that though when you watch it with a lot of guys carrying the ball, traveling, and it's always a narrative telling you they're better than what you're looking at. So I appreciate you guys for putting that truth out there, man.
Thank you, Dallas. Appreciate the support.
Yes,
And that's
sir.
why all of our channels came into existence. We were like, is anyone else seeing this bullshit? And finally, we had to document it. There's going to be a history of proof on our channel of what actually went down. But we appreciate
thank you for calling up, man, for real. When I think about everything that you just said, man, you're right on the money with these things, man. What does this go back to? This goes back to what we're always talking about. LeBron James does not make the players around him better. He does not make the game easier for the people around him, man. And when you're playing, like you said, with other great players and other really great talent, you should be maximizing these guys. You should be making the game easier for these guys around you. When you're getting 1-point wins, it's something weird going on. Like you said, trying to figure it out. And I want to touch on something real briefly. I heard Steve Kerr, and I was going to do a video about this later on. Steve Kerr was once again making excuses for the close victories, saying that Team USA wasn't taking these guys serious. They were going lightly, and that exposes Team USA. That exposes LeBron James as the quote-unquote leader of the team. Do you really believe the 92 Dream Team was taking any of these teams lightly? No. That's why they beat them by 30, 40, and 50 points. They were going hard against those guys. They didn't give a damn what country they were from. They were there to prove a point, man.
And if this is Anthony Edwards' time, can I please see Anthony Edwards make it his time? Can we stop catering to the story of LeBron James? This is Anthony Edwards' time. Damn it.
It is.
I guess, or else it's not. But let us see it. Let us see him expose himself. Yep. He's either going to prove himself or expose himself, but we're not getting to see either one of those.
Yep. I agree wholeheartedly, man.
Hey, man, I hope you'll call back in next week, and I appreciate your support.
For sure.
Yo, thanks a lot, man.
Indeed. Hey, take it easy, brother.
All right, y'all.
All right. Are we ready for me to read my little bit about this is inspired by Gilbert Stupid Ass Arenas.
Yes.
Take it away, AOH.
Matter of fact, I'm gonna share this to his page.
Okay, so Gilbert Arenas got some heat for being disrespectful to South Sudan, and I wrote down his quotes while he's cussing, and I mean he's just going in between cussing, vulgarity, and being disrespectful. But first, he starts by calling South Sudan the Ahi Ahi tribe, and I don't know if that's just gibberish he came up with, because I looked up and tried to find the Ahi Ahi tribe, and I don't know who that is. He then said Embiid was throwing the game for his cousins. So I don't know, man. God damn, can you imagine a white person saying that? I'm confused because I thought that black people called white people cousins, but I don't. He then referred to, we can't be losing to the air up there. That's fucking Kenya.
Yep.
Then he referred to Cool Runnings. That's Jamaica. You're in the wrong hemisphere. You're not even in the right continent, much less the right country. I'm going to get to why this matters, because maybe it doesn't seem like it matters right now. Then he says they get their shoes from America. Oh, they have to get their shoes from America. Well, shit, we should beat them. Well, no, they don't. We all get our shoes from some torture factory in Asia before it goes to the retailers. Wait. Let me finish my thing, because I've got plenty for you to get mad about. Oh, wait. Manute Bol, he mentioned. I don't know if this was an accident, but he finally got that one right, because Manute Bol is from the Republic of Sudan. And then he talked about they're shooting in peach baskets and dirt and no shoes, which again reminded me about Scottie Pippen complaining about being the dirt. Now, here's the thing. You could blow all that off and say, oh, he's being funny by listing that any black players that aren't American are basically tribal and we shouldn't be losing to them. You could shrug it off and not get upset. However, the double standard, in my opinion, is when it comes to forgiveness. It was dumb. He thought he was being funny, or maybe he didn't. Maybe he was just this fucking clueless. But that would not fly if Skip Bayless or anyone else like that said that. The fucking guy's career would be over.
Right.
He lumped all black people into one category of not being from here. You're not from here, therefore you're all the same. You're all the same if you're not from here. That's what he said. And earlier this year, there was a wave of sports analysts that lumped all Europeans as being the same, acting the same, being soft and eating croissants and shit. Europe is 44 countries.
Yep.
And I hesitated to do a video about that because I was like, people don't want to hear me rant about racial complaining. But when nobody called out the analysts that were that disrespectful to lump essentially white people, all white people into one category, I was like, come on. If it's wrong for this person to say it on TV, then it should be wrong for this person to say it on TV. Gilbert Arenas should be blackballed by now. All right. So that's my take on it. And you guys please respond. Tell me why I'm wrong.
God.
So to get into that whole ordeal now, I know a lot of people will try to put the kid gloves on Gil and say, oh man, he's just joking, blah, blah. No. You don't say anything to that degree about anybody from a foreign land, because to me, that's disrespecting their culture, their nationality, and their overall way of life. For those guys to take it to Team USA in the manner that they did and made it a 1-point game, that shows that, to me, that's significant because they're taking the game serious. I'm not going to sit here and downplay it all because Steve Kerr wants to try to spin a narrative, which he needs to untangle his brain. And, oh, well, we weren't. No, you don't come off saying you don't take anybody serious because, again, that's disrespectful. And for Gilbert Arenas to try to utilize their tribes and group them together by how their outer appearance is, and they get their shoes over here. Like my thing with Gil, if Skip Bayless said the same thing about you, you would be on your highest soapbox. Oh, Skip Bayless, how could you say that? How blah blah blah. So my thing is, don't disrespect someone else, and then when someone again returns the favor, now you want to cry wolf, because now that is a double standard. That is the epitome of hypocrisy. Because I would never look down or try to mock and ridicule another country, because they have their own standards, their customs, and their way of life. And for him to do that, that's like, Gil, you're really showing how ignorant that you are. You're really showing your lack of class, your lack of decorum, and overall, you're not looking at it from an optical perspective. Because if you bring someone in who doesn't know you and doesn't know Team USA, they're going to call you a racist. They're going to call you every derogatory term they can think of based off your actions. And that's what he does not do. And don't get me wrong, I got respect for Gil, based off his basketball accomplishments, but that right there, no, you can't get a pass for that, because you don't disrespect people like that. And then you want to scream, oh, people are hating on LeBron, because again, you're being a hypocrite. What you just did to South Sudan and all of those players over there who worked their way up, blood, sweat, and tears to get to this moment, no, that was disgusting. And I don't appreciate it. And if Gil, if you see this and me and you want to have a one-on-one, I'll come to your platform, because, bro, you don't conduct yourself like that. If we're supposed to be the standard, we conduct ourselves with integrity and with honor and with morals, not like that.
Robin?
Yeah, see, once again, Gilbert Arenas does us a favor. He destroys his own credibility, right? So once again, he exposed himself with all the things that we've been talking about. Gilbert Arenas has zero credibility, guys. Now, when we talk about these kind of statements and we're talking
Robin,
about
you
these
got
different
some-
African nations,
Robin,
and he's trying to lump them all.
do you have a monitor on? I got some feedback. I got some echo.
It's not me.
Okay.
It's still echoing?
No, it just
All right,
improved.
yeah. So for example, would you call somebody from Ukraine Russian? Hell no, you would not. They would take offense to someone calling them Russian. Why? Well, they sound the same. They look the same. The Ukrainians and the Russians the same. The hell they are. Russia invaded Ukraine. They'll be damned if you call them the same. If you call somebody from Mexico and you call them Puerto Rican, or you call somebody from Puerto Rico Dominican, it's not the same thing. It's not. If you're from Spain, it's not the same as Brazil. Everything is different. So for him to try to lump these things together, once again, it shows a lack of knowledge overall from him. And like you said, if he's trying to be funny, there's nothing funny about that. My family, my grandfather happened to be from Sierra Leone, West Africa, right? He was born there. He came over on the boat, man. So when we think about these things, man, would people from Sierra Leone be called the same as the South Sudan? No, it's completely different, man. There's different tribes. There's different dialects of languages. It would be like you calling someone from Japan Chinese. It's not the same thing. They're completely different cultures, different ways of life, different kinds of people. So once again, this exposes Gilbert Arenas, his lack of knowledge and his overall, once again, credibility is being exposed. This guy just talks for views, for the clicks. That's what he's there for. And he told us this much during that live stream that he came on, that sometimes he'll word certain titles on his videos a certain way so that people click on it. He has no substance. He stands on nothing, Gilbert Arenas. And that's why I call him a clown, man. And I'll never respect someone like him, man. He's a complete dirtbag for saying those things. And like you said, Hoop God, the South Sudan, for them to compete that way, they have pride in their country. They were playing for their country. Where's USA's pride at? Where are they coming out there and giving that effort and living up to that standard?
They don't have any.
It's unfortunate that I have to wonder how much of it was Gilbert Arenas being that ignorant and not actually knowing where any of these places are on a map. Because let's face it, Americans aren't well traveled. Geography is not our strong point.
Right.
Or is it another terrible option? Is he knew how terrible what he was saying was going to be, and he said it for clicks. And you know, you could forgive someone for not knowing the Congo from Kenya because you just haven't looked into it. Like you could forgive someone for not knowing Russia from the Ukraine because you haven't looked into it. But if we're going to hold people to a standard of behavior, it has to be the same for everyone. If you make an excuse for someone to be ignorant because of a certain reason, then you're sending a bad message to everyone else. Oh, it's okay to be a dipshit as long as you have an excuse for it.
No, and that's my thing. Like when I saw that, and I saw the shout out to Dreamers Pro, how Rob Parker just like annihilated him. Because no, you don't do that. Again, if we're supposed to be the standard, we do not conduct ourselves that way. Just like in the military, a captain does not converse and run around with the NCOs or the lower enlisted. No, there's a hierarchy, there's a standard. As a captain, he has a different level of responsibility and accountability. You would expect a lower enlisted private or sergeant to go out there and do something dumb because why? They're young. They're inexperienced. But a captain, you don't expect a captain to go out there and get a DWI or stay out all night and miss formation. No, you don't do that. So with the United States, we're of the highest caliber, so we don't conduct ourselves like anybody. And it's no disrespect to the other countries, because I'm not saying that they're doing it either. I know somebody in the comments will try to misconstrue my words. The point I'm making is the eyes of the world is on Team USA. We're getting all the publicity, all the notoriety. So with great power, shout out to Peter Parker's grandpa. With great power comes great responsibility. You know, Uncle Ben. And that's
Rob Parker was correct. But if we're going to give Rob Parker props for calling Gilbert out, should I not be upset that Rob Parker wasn't mad that Paul Pierce lumped all Europeans into the same category? I don't remember this outrage back then.
Yeah, I agree.
Nobody wants to call in and talk about racism? I'm shocked.
Listen, because they agree with us, man. They know that we're speaking the facts here. This is why they tune into the AOH channel. They tune into our channels, man. They know the deal, man. So much respect to all you guys out there, man, that are once again understanding this is not hate on Team USA, but we're holding the standard.
And let me say this: I'm nonpartisan, so I don't identify with the Democrats or the Republicans. But I just wanted to say, as much as I hear about, oh, well, Trump has got these associations with the Nazi, blah 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 blah, right? If y'all want to do all that hooping and hollering and all that outrage, okay, you need to keep that same energy for Gilbert Arenas. That's my thing. Don't pick and choose when you want to address something because it suits you. No, call it out across the board, no matter who it is. Because see, when you don't do that, now I have to label you as being a hypocrite because now you're just being disingenuous.
I got CJ back in the waiting room. Let me acknowledge a super chat. $9.99. Thank you very much from Stinky Cash. I'm glad I don't have to smell the virtual payment. LeBron equals Homelander. Yeah, I think Boo TV mentioned that, or somebody did. Both were enhanced in a lab by injections. Man, I got to tell you, the evidence of LeBron James being on steroids is overwhelming. The only question is, you know, does it matter? Because they make an excuse for everything he does. Anyway, both are media creations. Both are two-faced, disloyal, insecure crybabies. Thank you, Stinky Cash. Let's see what CJ has to say. CJ, you are live.
What up? What up? In regards to the racism with Gilbert Arenas, it's Gil. It's Gil. Like, you can't, you can't. You know what I'm saying? There's no excusing it. But at the same time, who would you expect that from? Gilbert Arenas. That's par for the course. You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm saying. It's just unfortunate.
Yeah, but everybody always has an excuse. So at what point are we going to say the people on TV influencing everyone else need to just say, I realize I'll get clicks, but this is wrong. At some point, you have to be that guy. Like, I get mad about Chris Broussard being an apologist. You know, I listened to him on The Odd Couple with Rob Parker defending LeBron James cussing all the time and JJ Redick cussing during the press conference. He says, yeah, but everybody does it now. It's not like the old days. I'm like, well, that's because of people like you coming on TV and saying it's okay. Don't come on here and say it's okay to act like an asshole and expect things to improve.
Yo, shout out to GoCast Hoops. I see them in the chat, man. Shout out to you guys. And yeah, listen, there's no excuse for ignorance. We cannot excuse Gilbert Arenas. That's part of the problem. And when we think about Rob Parker, let's not forget, Rob Parker was canceled, right? He got canceled for calling Robert Griffin III a cornball brother on ESPN, man. So he got canceled off ESPN for that, Rob Parker.
What did he do?
He called Robert Griffin III a cornball brother.
Why would he do that?
Like a fake black guy is basically what he called him on national television, and they cut him off of ESPN. That's why he got banned off ESPN.
Wow.
That was years ago.
So he found a place on Fox for that.
That's right.
I'm going through the chats trying to see who I've missed. Everybody that wants to call in, it's over in the right. I'm posting it right now.
If you guys got some background feed, because we got like an echo going.
Let me see if it's Hoops God. I'm going to mute him. Test. It was Hoops God. It's the damn old
Come on,
man who
you
can't
guys are
handle.
messing us up, man.
He went to the restroom and left the microphone on. God knows what else we'll hear coming out of there. Well, Hoops God, we might we're about at our time limit and nobody's calling in, so we might there he is. I muted you. Hold on.
Apologies.
There he is. All right, well, let's bring this full circle and end it with you talking. Oh, who's this? Ayuk, you are live. Ayuk, I can't hear you. Ayuk, I'll give you a couple more seconds, so you're gonna have to try and call back. Something's wrong. Ayuk, check your settings and call back. Hoops God, I love hearing you compare Bird and LeBron. Did you miss saying anything that you would like to have added?
Oh yeah, I have plenty of evidence. I'm gonna be strategic. I'm gonna be strategic because I want to take this time to issue this challenge. Now, Gil, Sports and Fitness Rants already called you out. We ain't got no response. Gil, now I'm gonna call you out. I'm gonna call you, Lamont, and any of the rest of these guys out here who highly favor LeBron. We can have a one-on-one on any neutral platform. I can bring a moderator. You can bring a moderator. Let's let the people decide. I don't know why y'all keep running from this smoke, because I promise you I have plenty of evidence that will substantiate Larry Bird is a better player than LeBron James. As I proceed, Larry Bird got his triple-doubles in significantly less time than LeBron James. Remember, Larry Bird only played 12 full seasons. He missed that one season due to injury. LeBron did not surpass him until year 2017-18 at 59. That was the point total. So that shows me Larry Bird was a more efficient player when it comes to, once again, all-around play. Not to mention Larry Bird has a higher point total in triple-double games than LeBron James. See, they don't want to talk about this when we start to actually deep dive and dissect. It's really not even close. That's why I keep telling them, why do y'all keep trying to put LeBron at this level with Jordan or Kobe Bryant or Magic Johnson? He's not even better than Larry Bird. And I'm not saying that as a slight. I'm saying that, LeBron, you have levels to get to. No, the media can tell us this, but the film, the production, the efficiency, it tells us otherwise. So anybody in the chat, I'll ask you, who's better finishing at the rim? Y'all want to give LeBron that? Okay, cool. Who has a better post game? I'm talking about creativity down there in the post. Jump hooks, floaters, runners, leaners. That's Larry Bird. Who got a better?
But when you say finish at the rim, we're talking about just being able to go up and get an alley-oop. As far as an actual post move finish, I don't think LeBron's that great.
Well, no. This is what I mean. Because if you look at the breakdown, they got finishing at the rim. That's like from 0 to 3 feet. But then they have right outside the restricted area. So that's why I said I'll give LeBron that, even though there's a good argument for Bird. But I'm looking at every aspect on the floor. We get to the mid-range. Bird is significantly better. We get from the elbow, ISO and shot creation from that area. Bird significantly better. Free throw percentage, Bird is better. 3-point percentage out to 35 feet, Bird is better. So once again, Larry Bird mastered the triple threat. LeBron still hasn't mastered that. That is one essential move that separates the really good guys from the exceptionally great guys. Because when you're in the triple threat, you're a threat to shoot, dribble, or pass. And if you're a great shooter, you have to honor that. LeBron, they play drop coverage on you. A lot of teams have done it. Golden State Warriors, the Orlando Magic, Dallas Mavericks, San Antonio Spurs. Do you really think the Dallas Mavericks would have played drop coverage on Larry Bird in the 2011 finals? I do not. So once again, any one of you LeBron fans who love LeBron James, let's have a legit basketball one-on-one discussion and let's really see who's the better player.
Rob Lane, I saw you in the waiting room. I didn't want to cut off Hoops God while he's trashing LeBron, but there's Rob again. Rob.
Yo, what up?
Rob.
Yeah, it's Rob.
Howdy, welcome.
Hey, the reason why no one wants to call Gil racist is because the whole narrative that a black person can't be racist. That's why the media doesn't call it.
But isn't he being called racist now?
Well, I mean, you guys are definitely saying it. But I'm talking about the mainstream. The mainstream media won't call that kind of shit out. But obviously it is. I mean, He's a
What do you
hypocrite.
what do you think, Robin? Can black people be racist?
I mean, listen, I think anybody can be racist. Racism is racism, I think, no matter how you slice it, man. Once again, if you're insulting other countries by lumping them all together, that's, once again, ignorant. Racism is ignorance. So anyone could be ignorant, right? That means anyone could be racist.
Yep. I agree 1000%. There's no such thing that a certain demographic or group of people can't be racist. Again, that's nothing but political jargon that they want to try to utilize to manipulate people. And whoever Dwight Smith is, hey, whatever you say, I would have to value an insult for me to take it serious. So, I mean, you can say what you want in the comments. That ain't really bothering me. I mean,
I can't
really want to
deal
be in
with
your feelings like that. Just go ahead and tell us. Just say you're crying without telling us that you're crying.
Hey, well, keep up the good work. You know, I get frustrated with LeBron. I'm a Lakers fan, so I had to try to cheer for him for a while, but I can't stand it. I can't fake it, and I can't wait till he's not on the team no more.
That's got to be tough, man. I feel for you. I feel for you. I hope it's over soon. It looks like they're just going to keep dragging that shit out.
Yeah,
I mean,
AD's been the best player on our team since he got there. And
people and the racism. When we think about a lot of the comments that have been made over the last 10 or so years as it relates to the Michael Jordan, his era, what did you hear a lot of the LeBron James fans say? What? Michael Jordan played against slow, unathletic white guys. That's racist because what they're trying to imply is that if you're white, you cannot play basketball. That's racism right there, man. I've never judged anybody on the basketball court based off what they look like. Once again, if you're judging people off of what they look like, you're going to be in for a rude awakening, my friends. And that's racism, man. I never heard those things growing up that this guy is white, so he wasn't that good. What do you hear people say about Will Chamberlain and Bill Russell's era? Oh, Bill Russell played against white guys, little white guys. They must always take it to the race. That's racism, guys.
yeah, obviously people who talk like that aren't really logical or being honest about the actual game of basketball. Like the skills speak for themselves.
Yep.
Period.
Am I still there?
That bird's not white. He's clear.
You're good, Hoops God. Rob Lane, thank you so much for your ongoing support and for calling in. Hoops God, go ahead. And we got Goat Fan 2K is waiting.
Oh, okay. So I also wanted to speak on a lot of people knock Larry Bird for his defense. But again, doing research, come to find out. Did y'all know Larry Bird is the only member of the 50-40-90 club that's made multiple all-defensive teams? Does that not signify all around? Not only is he efficient, but he's also making all-defensive teams. And he made 3 second all-defensive teams. So again, when I start to unpack all of this information, I'm seeing that Bird by far is a better player. Larry Bird legitimately led the league in 26 different statistical categories. I got that from Skip Bayless on an episode they had a while back, but I had to go verify it, and it was true. Because anytime I see something, I have to make sure I verify to make sure it's true, because I don't want to look foolish regurgitating something that's false.
It's interesting how we define athleticism, because if you don't have the physical gifts that some other people do and you're still able to compete out there, isn't your ability to overcome through some other means a form of athleticism?
Oh, yeah,
I mean, that could be an entire show.
By far. But see, with basketball, it's skills. Because you can take athleticism. Like, you could look at Gerald Green, for example. The dude jumps out of the gym. He's never been a starter. But then you look at Larry Bird. Okay, he might not have athleticism, but Larry Bird has the same vertical leap as Karl Malone, but nobody says Karl Malone is not athletic. Like, that's the thing I don't understand.
Interesting.
Like, you pick and choose who you want to label athletic and who's not. And sports and fitness, like you said, these are the same guys who get out here and say Michael Jordan played against all these unathletic white guys. Like, bro, really? Really? And then y'all not going to criticize Gilbert Arenas for what he just said about the Sudan, the team representing their country. But getting back to the topic, though, there's too many. It's too much information that I can bring to the table.
And I want to talk about something about Larry Bird too.
Oh,
go
ahead.
Goat Fan 2K, you're on.
I think the reason why people don't respect Larry Bird as a defender is because he's actually one of the best IQ defenders. And we're talking about that because, like, for example, like his IQ and knowing when to get steals, when to help in rotations. Him and Kevin McHale was like a great IQ defenders with just their IQ alone. So if you just give him that athleticism, he's obviously going to like dominate anybody in the defensive end. But because people are so attracted to LeBron's athletic skills, his chase down blocks, they don't really watch the game to see Larry Bird actually break down people with just pure IQ. Like, if we're talking about IQ defenders, Larry Bird has to be up there, honestly. It's just that he just has the athletic blitz to like combat that, honestly.
And I don't know if you separate it, it's all cognitive, but it goes beyond IQ, mental strength. I don't know what the best
Yeah,
word for that is. For you to
mentality, yeah.
for you to be able to tell someone you're going to shoot it from a spot and deliver and know that you're going to, you're not going to freeze. That's not just IQ. That's a different sort of mental strength.
That's what you call supreme confidence.
And we have self-researched NBA facts, and you are on, sir.
This echo is killing me.
Yo, what's up, man?
What up,
Welcome.
Jim?
That's not me with the echo, is it? I don't think so.
God,
No,
man.
you just came on. It's
Oh,
probably
okay.
it's probably that old man with the bird shirt on.
My apologies.
Nice. Hey, yeah, I missed most of the show, but I heard you guys talking about the Olympics, and I was thinking, who else could Team USA bring on the team that would be, a factor? Maybe Jaylen Brown,
Yeah.
Carl Anthony Towns. Who else you gonna get? That's basically the squad, right? For
Yeah.
Team USA. I mean, I'm just trying to rack my brain, trying to think of any other players, and I'm just not really coming up with any. But I was thinking, back in the day, there was a plethora of players that they could have unleashed that weren't even on the Dream Team. Top 75 players like Reggie Miller, James Worthy, Gary Payton, Isaiah Thomas, Dominique Wilkins, Kevin McHale, Robert Parrish. Moses Malone was past his prime probably, but he was still putting up decent numbers. Then you had the college kids. You had Grant Hill, Jason Kidd, Penny Hardaway, Alonzo Mourning, Shaq, Mutombo. I mean, I think those guys might be better than the team right now.
You bring up a really interesting point because it looks like we're dealing with the same excuse that LeBron James provides every season. Who else did we need to get? Who else did we? Team USA stacked.
Yeah.
It's the way that you're utilizing the players that's the problem, which has been the LA Lakers issue for most of the last 5 years.
I want to bring something to the table real quick. So
yes.
This is before Michael Jordan even played a game in the NBA. You can go look this up on YouTube. When Bobby Knight was coaching them, Patrick Ewing, who else? Chris Mullin, all those guys who came in the 84 and 85 draft. Okay, Oscar Robertson was coaching Team USA that featured Bird, Magic, Isaiah, Dr. J, Moses Malone, all those guys, Kareem. Oscar Robertson instructed them play physical, play them tough. That squad led by Michael Jordan and Alvin Robinson, don't let me forget, he was on that squad. They went 8-0 against Team USA's best. This is in 84. So now what that tells me is Michael Jordan having that type of production, that type of sufficient production, going up against Larry Bird's Celtics, he wins. But see, they don't want to talk about that because, wow, those guys went out there and played for the love of the game, the passion, and the respect. They didn't fear the NBA's best. No, they said, hey, we're coming into the league and we're going to show you we belong and we're going to beat y'all 8 straight times. To me, that is like very significant. But I just wanted to bring that to the table because I don't think a lot of people in the chat knew about that.
Yo, listen, Bobby Knight got into a physical altercation. He tried to get into a fight with Oscar Robertson because during that last game, like you said, he told them to be physical with Michael Jordan. And Mike Dunleavy slapped Michael Jordan right in his face, man, going up for a dunk attempt. And Bobby Knight refused to put Michael Jordan back in the game out of fear of him getting hurt for the Olympics. That's how physical they were. And he went at Oscar Robertson on the sideline.
Guys, do we have time for another caller or should we cut it?
I got to get going.
All right. Thank you everybody for joining. Hoops God, I want you to have one more line since you did so good delivering on the Larry Bird versus LeBron.
And so another point I wanted to bring up with Larry Bird, and like I said, him being able to adapt to whatever situation that his team needs. Prime example, 1981 NBA Finals. Larry Bird goes toe-to-toe with Moses Malone. I think a lot of people who know basketball know his nickname is the chairman of the boards. So Moses Malone only edged him out by maybe 0.2 percentage points. But then here's something else that stands out. Larry Bird led both teams in the 1984 Finals in rebounds. He out-rebounded the great Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. See, those are the things that don't get brought up in these discussions. I can't find any series that LeBron James played and went up against Dwight Howard or Ben Wallace or Tim Duncan, any of those guys, and he out-rebounded them. Kevin Garnett with the Boston Celtics before he ran to Miami. I can't find one. So the fact that Larry Bird was going toe-to-toe with all of those giants, look at the competition that he faced. They always say, oh, Larry Bird, he ain't this, he ain't that. But then watch this. They'll always say, well, Michael Jordan never beat Larry Bird. Okay, well, by their logic, Larry Bird has to be the greatest small forward of all time. Why? He beat Michael Jordan. Who did LeBron beat? That's even 2/3 of Michael Jordan. Nobody. So no, don't try to pick and choose when you want to use Larry Bird to suit a narrative. But then if I turn around and reverse it, now all of a sudden Larry Bird is not top 10. No, I'm not listening to that. So with my final to sum it up, Larry Bird by far is a better basketball player. I'm not even going to say small forward, just a better basketball player than LeBron James. And I have a mountain of evidence that can substantiate it. So anybody who wants to challenge me, sports and fitness, AOH, just let us know.
Yeah, we've got to somehow arrange you and Gil talking about this, because it sounds like you're ready to go.
Oh, I'm ready. I'm ready. I've been ready for the last 2 years.
I appreciate you bringing the knowledge, not just opinions, but bringing the actual information to back it up.
Indeed. Yes, indeed.
Robin, last words.
Hold on, mute Hoop God for a second so I don't get no echo in here. So I can be nice and crystal clear. Hoop God, you know you my boy, man. I love you, man, for real, man. And AOH, listen, man, once again, guys, I am truly humbled to be on this live stream with you guys, man. I really enjoy chatting with you guys. Shout out to everybody once again in the chat that came through, man. Thank you to everyone that's donated to our live stream. This was fantastic, guys. Remember, no one's hating on LeBron James. No one's hating on Team USA. What we're talking about is the comparisons, the phony comparisons between Michael Jordan and the 92 Dream Team are not valid. So once again, I want everybody to understand we're upholding the standard. When Team USA is heavily favored to beat some of these teams and they're barely beating them, that's them not living up to the standard. That's them lollygagging, going through the motions, and not taking these things serious. When people say that the world caught up, that may be true to some degree, but at the same time, USA basketball has regressed, and people must come to terms with these things. The reason why LeBron James must take accountability and must take ownership for these kinds of things, he was voted the captain. He was voted the captain. The captain is supposed to take the blame. For some reason, the LeBron James fan club, the media, they never want to give him the blame. He'll get all the money. He'll be seen as the best player on the team. But when it's time to dish out the blame, they want to blame Anthony Davis. They want to blame the other guys. They never want to blame LeBron James, man. So once again, guys, this is a great show. Thank you to everybody that's been supporting our channels, man. Once again, guys, I'm truly humbled, man. And if you guys know, if you haven't seen, this is the new Sports and Fitness Rants t-shirt, man. Once again, you guys know I'm not here for the money and the fame. You guys don't have to buy the shirts, but a lot of you guys have been asking me to get shirts going out, to get some merchandise. So thank you to all you guys, man.
Sports and Fitness Rants, it's always a pleasure to have you here. Thanks for bringing the energy. Hoops God, thank you for coming on as our special guest once again and bringing your Larry Bird knowledge. Everybody that called in, thank you, and thanks for keeping it respectful. And if I missed your super chat, I'll read them on Friday. Next Wednesday, Johnny Arnett is going to come on with us, so tune in for that. Thanks, everybody, and subscribe to all of our channels. Thank you for your support, and have a great